The encounter, the blackness of space stretched endless around the small ship. Inside, alarms screamed, red lights flashed, and metal shook like thunder. Ethan, a young astronaut, gripped the controls with sweaty hands. "Hold together, just hold." "Together," he whispered, but the ship refused to listen. The engine burst with a flash, throwing the ship into a spin. Stars blurred. The planet below rushed closer and closer. Ethan felt weight vanish, then slam back into his chest. He thought he would die. He was sure this was the end. The ship tore through clouds like a falling star. Heat burned the metal, smoke filled the cabin. Ethan closed his eyes as the ground raced up, then darkness swallowed him. When he opened his eyes, he was not in the wreck. He lay on a stone floor, soft blue light glowing above. The air was strange warm, but heavy with energy. He tried to move, but his body ached as if broken, yet somehow he was alive. Then he saw her, a tall figure with silver eyes and glowing skin. She stood beside him, silent, watching. Her presence was calm, but powerful. She looked less like a person, more like a dream. Ethan blinked, trying to speak, but his voice cracked. "Where am I?" The woman tilted her head, her voice soft but clear. "You are safe, human," she said. "I saved you." Ethan's mind spun. How could she speak English? Who was she? What did she mean? His chest burned as he sat up, and he saw strange markings, glowing faintly on his arms, like fire under his skin. "What did you do to me?" He gasped, fear in his voice. The woman stepped closer, her silver eyes locking on his. "I gave you life," she answered, "and in doing so I gave you to me." Her words chilled him. "What are you talking about?" Ethan demanded. "I never asked you to." She raised a hand, and he felt his breath catch. Not from fear, but from something deeper. A pull inside his chest, like a string tied between them. His heart beat in rhythm with hers, though he did not understand how. "You belong to me now," she whispered. "Human. Our bond has begun." Ethan shook his head, trying to break free. He struggled to stand, but his legs failed. The woman caught him before he fell, her touch burning yet gentle. He pushed away, but the pull between them dragged him back. It was like gravity, impossible to escape. "Bond? What bond?" he asked, his voice shaking. The woman finally gave her name. "I am Lyra," she said. "My people heal with light, but healing a human comes with price." She placed a hand on his chest, just above his heart. "You were dying. I bound my soul to yours. Now we live or die together." Ethan froze. Her words were heavy, like chains. He wanted to deny it, but deep inside, he felt it was true. When she touched his chest, his pain faded. But when he looked into her eyes, he felt her sorrow. It was real. "You tied me to you?" Ethan asked in disbelief. "I didn't ask for this." Lyra's face remained calm, but her eyes flickered with something hidden. "Neither did I," she said. "But fate chose this moment, and now we cannot turn back." Ethan's heart pounded. The weight of her words pressed on him. Live or die together, bound forever. The glowing chamber around them hummed, as if alive. The walls shone with strange patterns, pulsing like veins. He felt the whole place watching him. Like the planet itself knew of this bond. Ethan staggered toward the edge of the room. He touched the glowing wall and saw visions, a flash of stars, battles in the sky, and two figures standing together against endless darkness. One was him, the other was Lyra. The vision vanished, leaving him trembling. "What is happening to me?" he whispered. Lyra walked closer, her voice firm but soft. "The bond shows you pieces of destiny," she said. "Now that we are joined, your path and mine are one." Ethan shook his head, fear gripping him. "No, I don't believe in destiny. I just want to go home." Lyra's expression softened, but her words carried power. "Home is gone, human. Your ship is destroyed, and your old life ended the moment you fell here." She leaned closer, her silver eyes glowing bright. "From now on, your life is mine." And mine is yours. Ethan felt his chest tighten, not only with fear, but with something else. A strange warmth he could not name, the bond between them. Pulled stronger, he hated it, yet part of him wanted to trust it. He stared at her, his voice low. Then tell me the truth, Lyra. Why me? She paused, silent for a long time. Finally, she whispered, almost too soft to hear. Because, human. You were chosen. The chamber's light flared brighter. Shadows stretched along the walls. Ethan felt the world around him shift. Like a storm gathering outside, he realized this was not an accident. This meeting, this bond was only the beginning of something greater, but he didn't know if it would save him or destroy him, and in that moment, one thought filled his mind. He was no longer alone, whether he wanted it or not. His life now belonged to her. Forever, the bond revealed. Ethan woke to a strange silence. The chamber was no longer glowing blue, but soft white, like the light of a rising moon. He lay on a bed carved from stone, warm to the touch as if alive. The marks on his arms still burned faintly, glowing like embers under his skin. Across the room, Lyra stood in stillness, her hands raised over a crystal pool. The water rippled. Without wind, shapes forming in its surface, stars, planets, shadows of battles he could not understand. Her voice carried softly across the chamber. Though she did not turn to face him, you should not have survived that crash. Human, your body was broken, your heart fading, yet here you are. Ethan sat up, his head heavy. I don't understand, he said. You talk about saving me, but you also talk about binding me. What does it mean? What did you really do to me? Lyra lowered her hands, the vision in the pool fading to still water. She turned to him, her silver eyes brighter than before. The truth is not simple, she said. To heal you, I had to give part of myself, not just blood, not just energy, but soul. Ethan's chest tightened at her words. He touched the glowing marks on his arms, feeling them pulse with his heartbeat. You put your soul inside me? He whispered, his voice almost breaking. Lyra shook her head slowly, her expression calm but shadowed with something unspoken. No, human, not inside you, with you. She placed her palm against her own chest, then gestured toward his. Now. Our lives are one thread, woven together. If you bleed, I feel it. If you die, so do I. Ethan froze, the weight of her words crashing into him like a storm. A bond stronger than chains, stronger than any prison. He thought of home, of earth, of freedom. But it all seemed far away now. This is insane, he muttered. I didn't ask for this. You should have let me die. Her silver eyes narrowed, not with anger, but with quiet sadness. You think death is easier than fate? She asked, her voice soft yet cutting. I chose to save you, human, because something greater called me to it. Ethan stood, shaky but stronger than before. Every step he took, he felt a strange echo, like a shadow of movement not his own. He looked at Lyra and realized she felt it too. Their bond was more than words, it was alive that night. As the alien moonlight shone through crystal walls, Ethan tried to rest, but when he closed his eyes, visions came. He saw Lyra standing on a battlefield, fire raining from the sky. He saw himself beside her, holding a weapon he had never seen. And then he saw them both fall together, their blood soaking into the same soil. He woke in a sweat, gasping. Lyra was there, watching, as if she knew. The bond shows pieces of what may come, she said quietly. It is not only life we share, but dreams, fears, even death. Ethan rubbed his face, his heart racing. So I can't escape you, even in my sleep? He asked bitterly. Lyra tilted her head, the faintest smile touching her lips. You speak as if this is curse, human, but bonds are sacred among my people. They are gift, not chain. Ethan laughed without humor. A gift? You tied me to a stranger on a world I don't even know. My ship is gone. My life is gone. And now I'm stuck with you. Lyra stepped closer, her gaze unwavering. Perhaps you see only prison because you fear what it means, she whispered. Her hand brushed against his arm, and suddenly he felt warmth flood through him. The pain in his chest vanished, replaced by calm. But then, just as quickly, he felt her sorrow, sharp and deep, like a knife. He pulled back. Startled. That was you, he whispered. I felt your sadness. Lyra nodded slowly. Yes, human, the bond does not hide what we are. It reveals, it strips away lies and walls. There is no mask between us now. Ethan turned away, pacing. He hated it. The thought of someone knowing every shadow of his heart. But another part of him, quiet, buried, felt something else. A strange comfort. Like he had never truly been seen before. Lyra's voice carried behind him, steady and calm. You think you were chosen by accident, but I know better. Her eyes glowed faintly in the moonlight. There is reason you were saved, reason you and I are bound. Destiny does not waste threads. Ethan clenched his fists, torn between anger and fear. He wanted to shout, to deny it, but deep inside he remembered the vision. Two figures standing against endless darkness, himself and Lyra, fighting side by side. He turned to her, his voice low. Then tell me, what are we bound for? Lyra stepped closer, the air between them humming like lightning. Her words fell like prophecy. For war, human, for love, for destiny, what begins now will echo across stars. Ethan's breath caught. The weight of her voice pressed into his soul. He realized the bond was not just survival. It was a doorway to something greater. But whether it would save him or destroy him, he did not yet know. Worlds collide. The chamber doors opened at last. Stone walls shifted like living creatures, glowing veins of light crawling across their surface. Beyond the doorway stretched a vast city. Floating towers hung in the air, connected by bridges of crystal. Beams of energy pulsed through the sky like veins in a giant heart. Ethan stepped forward, his breath caught in awe. This can't be real, he whispered. The city seemed endless, full of strange machines that hovered with no sound. Below, rivers of silver light flowed instead of water, curving around dark forests that moved as if breathing. Everywhere, alien shapes turned to watch him. Tall figures like Lyra, their eyes glowing softly. Lyra walked beside him, calm and graceful. This is Arender, she said, her voice echoing in the air as if the city itself listened. It is my home, and now it is yours too. Ethan felt every eye on him. The people whispered in their strange tongue, though some words he somehow understood. Human, bond, danger. The weight of their stares pressed into him. Not with kindness, but with fear. He turned to Lyra, frustration rising. They're looking at me like I'm cursed. Why? Lyra's expression remained calm, but her eyes flickered with unease. Because you are, she answered softly. In their eyes, a human should never have been bound. It breaks the old law. Ethan's heart sank. So I'm a mistake, Lyra shook her head. No, not mistaken omen. Her voice grew firm. They believe your bond with me is sign. A storm that will change everything. As they walked, Ethan tried to take in the alien world. Strange beasts flew between towers, their wings made of light. Children with glowing eyes ran across bridges, leaving trails of sparks behind them. At every corner, the city hummed like a living thing, as if it had its own heartbeat. It was beautiful, but he could not escape the tension. A council hall rose. A head massive and carved from black stone. Its spires cut the sky like blades. Guards in silver armor stood at the entrance, their eyes sharp as steel. Lyra led Ethan inside, though his chest grew heavier with every step. The hall was filled with tall figures seated in a circle. Their robes shimmered like flowing stars. At the center floated a great crystal, spinning slowly, humming with power. The council's voices rang out together, deep and cold. You brought the human here, Lyra, one elder said. You bound yourself against the old ways. Do you know what this means? Lyra bowed her head slightly. I know the law, she answered, but I also know fate, and fate chose him. The council's voices rose in anger. Fate is not excuse, fate is danger. The human is threat to the balance. Ethan clenched his fists. I didn't ask for any of this. he said, his voice sharp. I didn't choose to crash here. I didn't choose to be tied to her, but I'm not your enemy. The council's eyes glowed brighter. Then prove it, they said. Prove you are not curse. Prove you are not doom. Later, as they left the hall, Ethan turned to Lyra, frustration boiling. Prove it? How am I supposed to prove something I don't even understand? Lyra walked in silence for a while. Her silver eyes clouded. At last she spoke. There are ways, she said, trials that show the truth of the bond, but they are dangerous, and few survive. Ethan stopped, his heart pounding. Trials? You mean they want me dead? Lyra shook her head. No, they want to see if the bond is real, if it carries strength instead of ruin. She looked at him, her voice low. I will stand with you in these trials, because if you fall, I fall. Too, her words struck him deep. It was no longer just about survival. Their bond meant every choice, every danger, every wound. They would face together. That night, Ethan stood on a high balcony, the alien city glowing beneath him. Stars burned brighter here than anywhere he had seen. He thought of Earth, his home, his family, everything gone in fire and wreckage. He thought of Lyra, strange, powerful, bound to him in ways he could not escape. For the first time, he wondered if this bond was not prison, but doorway. A chance to step into something greater than he had ever imagined. Yet fear gnawed at him, because every whisper he heard in that city spoke the same word. Doom, Lyra joined him, her silver hair glowing faintly in the starlight. She stood beside him, silent for a long time. At last she said, Ethan, the trials will test not just your body, but your heart. Her eyes turned to his, burning with quiet strength. If we are truly meant to be bound, we will endure, but if not. She left the words hanging in the air. Ethan felt the chill of them, heavy and sharp. He stared into the alien night, and deep in his soul, he knew the world of humans and the world of Arender had already collided, and nothing would ever be the same again. The enemy appears. The city of Arender slept under silver light. Bridges of crystal glowed faintly. Towers hummed like quiet music, but in the distance, beyond the forests that breathed like living creatures, something stirred. A shadow moved, too dark for moonlight to touch, too silent for the city to hear. Ethan stood on the balcony, restless. The night was beautiful, yet heavy. He could not shake the whispers he had heard in the council. Doom, curse, omen, the words repeated in his mind like an echo that refused to fade. Lyra joined him, her silver eyes reflecting starlight. You feel it too, she said softly, not asking but knowing. Ethan turned, confused. Feel what? Lyra raised her gaze to the horizon. There is movement in the dark. Something old, something watching. Her voice lowered, carrying a weight that made Ethan's chest tighten. They have sensed the bond. Before Ethan could speak, the sky trembled. The stars above shimmered, then bent, as if the night itself was tearing. From the rift slipped shapes of black metal, sharp and curved like blades, silent ships moving with no light, no sound. They spread across the sky like predators, circling prey. Ethan's heart raced. What are those? He whispered. Lyra's face hardened. They are the Korth, our oldest enemy. They fear what they cannot control, and they will kill to stop it. Without warning, beams of dark fire cut through the night. They struck the floating towers, shattering crystal bridges. The city screamed with light as alarms rang. Voices crying out in panic. The air burned, the sky filled with shadows. Ethan staggered back as part of the balcony cracked under impact. Lyra caught his arm, pulling him away as shards of crystal fell into the silver river below. Guards rushed into the streets, their armor shining, their weapons glowing with pure energy. But against the Korth ships, their light seemed small. Why are they here? Ethan shouted over the chaos. They came for us, Lyra answered, her eyes fixed on the dark ships above. The bond between us, it is threat to their prophecy. They will not allow it to exist. Ethan's blood ran cold. They came. Just for me. Lyra turned to him, her voice sharp. For us, human. The bond is not one soul, but two, and they will try to break it. The ground shook as one of the black ships descended, its hull twisted like living shadow from its belly. Figures dropped into the city, warriors wrapped in armor of bone and black steel, their faces hidden behind masks carved with cruel lines. They carried weapons that hissed with dark fire. Where they walked, the light of the city dimmed. One of them raised a hand, pointing directly at Ethan. "There," the voice hissed, strange yet clear. "The human." Ethan's chest tightened, his breath frozen. In that moment, he understood. He was not just stranger in this world. He was target, marked by fate, hunted by enemies he had never known. Lyra pulled him back, her voice urgent. "Stay close. Do not fight them alone. The bond will guide us." Ethan shook his head, panic rising. "I don't know how to fight. I don't even know what's happening." Lyra stepped in front of him, raising her hands. Silver light flared from her palms, forming a shield that glowed like burning glass. Dark fire struck it, exploding in sparks. Her voice rang out like a command. "Then trust me, human. Trust the bond." As the enemy closed in, Ethan felt the pull again. The strange thread between him and Lyra tightened. His fear surged, and with it, her light grew brighter. Her shield thickened, pushing the warriors back. He gasped, realizing what was happening. "It's me," he whispered. "When I feel you gain strength." Lyra glanced back, her eyes fierce. "Yes. And when I weaken, you will carry me. This is how we survive." Ethan felt power rushing through him, not his own, but shared. Every heartbeat was echo of hers. Every breath carried weight of two lives. For the first time, he did not feel helpless. For the first time, he felt part of something greater. But the Korth were endless. Ships poured more warriors into the streets. The city's towers fell one by one. The council's spire burned, sending shards of black stone into the sky. Lyra pulled Ethan through the chaos, their steps in sync as if guided by unseen hand. Everywhere they turned, the bond flared. When Ethan stumbled, Lyra's strength carried him. When she faltered, his will pushed them forward. Together, they moved as one. Finally, they reached the edge of the city. A great gate of crystal opened, revealing a path into the glowing forests beyond. Lyra's voice was low but urgent. "They will not stop, human. The only way is to run." For now, Ethan looked back at the burning city. Guilt tore at him. This destruction, this war, it had come because of him. He wanted to stop, to fight. But Lyra's hand pulled him onward. Her voice was steady. "Survival first, answers later." As they disappeared into the silver forest, the city of Arendar burned behind them. Dark ships circled like vultures, their shadows swallowing the stars. The whispers Ethan once heard now roared in his ears. Doom, curse, omen. He realized those words were no longer just fear. They were truth, for the enemy had appeared, and they would not rest until the bond was broken. Asterisk, love or destiny? The silver forest stretched endlessly. Tall trees glowed faintly, their leaves whispering. With light as if carrying secrets, the air was heavy, filled with soft humming. Like voices too far to understand, Ethan and Lyra moved carefully through the shining mist, each step echoing like a ripple in water. Behind them, the sky still burned. The city of Arendar was falling, its towers broken, its people scattered, but there was no time to grieve, no time to look back. The enemy hunted them. Shadows moving in the dark, silent but always near. Ethan's chest ached, but not only from running. Every breath felt tied to hers, every movement synced with her steps. He hated the bond for trapping him, yet relied on it for strength. Without it, he knew, he would already be dead. At last they stopped near a crystal spring. Glowing like liquid starlight, Lyra knelt, her hands trembling slightly as she touched the water. Ethan sat against a tree, trying to calm his racing heart. He looked at her, really looked, and realized for the first time how tired she was. The bond showed him more than sight. He felt the weight in her soul, the fear she tried to hide. "You're hurting," he said quietly. Lyra glanced up her. silver eyes steady though her hands shook. "It is nothing," she whispered. Ethan shook his head. "No, I can feel it." "Because it's mine too." For a moment, neither spoke. The silence between them carried more than words. Two lives tied, two hearts beating together, each feeling what the other could not hide. Ethan leaned forward, his voice low. "Why did you do it? Why bind yourself to me? You didn't even know me." Lyra looked into the glowing water, her reflection broken by ripples. "Because choice was not mine," she said softly. "My people believe bonds are destiny. They come in moments we cannot control." Her gaze lifted to meet his. "When I saw you falling, I felt it, the thread pulling me, telling me you were meant to be saved." Ethan laughed bitterly. "Meant to be saved? Look around, Lyra. Your city is burning because of me. Your people think I'm curse. How can that be destiny?" Lyra stood, her voice suddenly fierce. "Do not mistake survival for curse, human. The Korth would have come whether you were here or not. They use fear to break us, but destiny does not bow to fear." Her words struck him, sharp and heavy. For a moment, Ethan saw not just a woman, but a warrior, a being who carried both light and sorrow. And deep inside, something stirred, something he did not want to name. As night grew deeper, they rested by the spring. The forest glowed brighter in the dark, like it breathed with its own soul. Ethan could not sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he felt Lyra's heartbeat inside him, steady but fragile. Finally he whispered, "Lyra, if I die, you die too. Right?" She nodded slowly, her silver hair falling like a curtain of light. "Yes, human, that is truth. And if you die, I go with you," he said quietly. Lyra's eyes softened. "There is no path where one walks alone now." Ethan looked away, struggling with the weight of it. It was terrifying, but at the same time, he realized something else for the first time in his life. He was not alone, not in fear, not in anything. Later, as he drifted half into sleep, he saw another vision. He and Lyra stood on a battlefield again, but this time he felt it clearer, her hand in his, their bond shining like fire, and around them, both armies stared, some in fear, some in awe. But then the vision shifted. He saw her fall, her light fading, and felt his own body breaking with hers. He woke with a cry, his chest burning. Lyra was already beside him, her hand on his arm. "You saw it too," she whispered, her voice carried sorrow but also strength. "The bond shows what may come, not what must. But every path we see warns us, human." Ethan met her gaze, his voice raw. "Then tell me, are we bound for love or for death?" Lyra's silver eyes glowed softly. "Perhaps both," she said. "For love is destiny, and destiny always walks with death." The forest grew loud around them, the glowing trees shaking as if a storm was near. Strange creatures moved in the mist, watching, waiting. Ethan stood, his chest still aching. He turned to Lyra, determination flickering in his eyes. "Then I don't care what the visions say. I won't let you fall, not while I breathe." Lyra stepped closer, their bond pulling like gravity. For a heartbeat, they stood inches apart, sharing the same breath. Her voice was soft but unshaken. "And I will not let you fall either, human. Whatever comes, we endure together." Their bond pulsed with light, brighter than before. For the first time, Ethan felt not just fear, but choice. He realized he could fight destiny, not alone, but with her. And deep inside, though he would not yet admit it, he knew this was no longer only about survival. It was about something greater, something both dangerous and beautiful, love or destiny. The line was already blurred, and soon, the universe would see what it truly meant. The choice. The silver forest grew darker as they walked. The glowing trees dimmed, their light swallowed by shadows. For hours, Ethan and Lyra moved in silence, their bond heavy between them. He felt her fear as his own. She felt his doubts as hers, and neither could escape it. At last, the forest opened into a valley, there half buried in stone. stood ruins, ancient towers broken, symbols carved into their walls. Energy pulsed faintly from the ground, like the heartbeat of something asleep. Lyra's voice lowered as she stared at the ruins. This place. It is older than my people, older than the Korth. It is where bonds were first created. Ethan stepped forward, shivering. The ground hummed under his boots, the markings glowing faintly as if answering his presence. He touched the stone, and visions flooded him. Figures standing in pairs, light connecting them, some smiling, some screaming as the bond consumed them. A voice echoed in his mind, deep and endless. One thread can be broken, if the price is paid. He staggered back, gasping, Lyra. There's something here, something that can break us apart. Lyra froze, her silver eyes flashing with fear. You felt it? She whispered. Ethan nodded. Yes, a machine or something. It can cut the bond. For a moment, silence hung heavy. The only sound was the soft hum of the ruins. Ethan's heart pounded as the thought clawed at him. Freedom, no more chains, no more shared pain, no more fear of living and dying as one. But the image of Lyra falling, the bond tearing, burned just as strong. Lyra's voice broke the silence. Quiet but sharp. If you break it, Ethan, I will not live. The bond is not chain you can cut. It is life we share. Ethan's hands shook, anger and grief twisting inside him. So I'm trapped? Forever tied to a fate I never chose? He turned away, pacing. I didn't ask for this, Lyra. I never asked to be saved. I never asked for destiny. Her eyes darkened, sorrow flickering in the silver glow. And I did not ask for it either. Human, she said softly. But choice was taken from both of us. It was given by something greater. Something neither of us controls. Ethan's voice cracked. But I want control. I want to live my own life, not a life tied to visions of death, not a life that belongs to someone else. The ruins trembled as if answering his words. From the earth rose a pillar of crystal, its surface sharp, its core burning with strange light. Inside it, shapes shifted, whispers filled the air. Break the thread. Take back your life. Break the thread. Pay the price. Ethan stared, his chest aching. This was the machine, the choice made real. One strike, one decision. And the bond could end. He could walk free, no more shadows, no more shared pain. But Lyra would fall, and part of him would fall with her. Lyra stepped closer, her hand brushing his arm. Her voice was steady, though her soul trembled through the bond. If this is what you want, Ethan, if you choose freedom, then strike it. I will not stop you. Ethan looked at her, his throat tight. You'd let me kill you? Her silver eyes softened. I would let you choose, because choice was stolen from you when I saved you. If this is how you take it back, then let it be. Ethan's heart broke at her words. Through the bond he felt her truth, fear, sorrow. But no anger. She was ready to die if it meant giving him freedom. And for the first time, he realized she did not see herself as his captor. She saw herself as his guardian, his burden, and his fate. The crystal pulsed brighter, whispering louder. Break the thread. Free yourself. Break the thread. Take back your soul. Ethan raised his hand, trembling. Every thought screamed at him freedom, control, escape. But then, he felt it, Lyra's heartbeat in his chest, her soul inside his own. Not prison, not curse, but connection. And he saw flashes of the battles ahead. Visions of them standing together against the endless dark. Not enemies, not strangers, but one. His hand fell, his voice breaking. No, I can't, I won't. Lyra's breath caught, her silver eyes wide. You choose the bond? Ethan nodded, tears burning his eyes. I hate it, I don't understand it. But I can't kill you to free myself, because if I did, I'd kill the only part of me that feels alive now. The crystal shattered with a thunderous crack, not broken by his hand, but by his choice. Light surged around them, binding them tighter. The whispers faded, replaced by a single voice, calm and powerful. Chosen, not bound. Together by will, not by chain. Ethan collapsed to his knees, Breathing hard, Lyra knelt beside him, her hand steady on his shoulder. Through the bond he felt her relief, her gratitude, her quiet joy, and for the first time, he did not fight it. For the first time, he accepted it. Lyra's voice was soft. Then we are no longer prisoners of fate. Ethan, we are partners of it. Ethan looked at her, his chest heavy but steady and deep inside. He knew his life was no longer his alone. It belonged to them both. And the choice had been made forever. The final destiny. The ground still shook from the ruins. The shattered crystal's light rose into the night sky, spreading like fire across the stars. Far above, the dark ships of the Korth turned at once, their shadows trembling as if they had felt the choice made, and then they descended, filling the sky with black metal. Ethan stood with Lyra at the edge of the valley. The bond between them burned stronger than ever, no longer heavy chain but living fire. He felt her heartbeat racing with his, her breath moving with his, her fear and courage as one with his own, and for the first time, he did not resist it. The forest shook as the Korth warriors marched forward. Their armor was black as bone, their eyes glowing with cruel fire. Behind them, machines crawled on many legs, weapons sparking with dark energy. It was not battle they came for, it was execution. Lyra raised her hand, silver light flaring into a shield around them. The Korth commander stepped forward, his voice hissing like broken steel. The human must die. The bond must end. It is forbidden. It is doom. Ethan felt anger rise inside him. Sharp and burning, he stepped past Lyra, his voice strong though his hands trembled. No, not doom, not curse. You fear what you can't control. But this bond isn't prison, it's power, and I will not give it to you, the Korth hissed. In fury, their weapons raised, and the sky itself seemed to break as the battle began. Dark fire fell like rain, shaking the valley. Lyra's shield cracked, sparks flying. But when Ethan's fear surged, the shield grew stronger. He felt the bond pulling at him, showing him more than sight. He saw where attacks would fall, where enemies would strike. It was as if destiny whispered in his ear. Guiding his every step, Lyra moved with him, her light a blade, her voice a storm. Together they struck, not as two, but as one. When Ethan stumbled, she caught him. When she faltered, he carried her. The bond turned every weakness into strength, every wound into fire. The Korth fell back, but more poured forward, endless as shadows. Ethan's chest burned, exhaustion tearing at him. Through the bond he felt Lyra weakening too, her strength slipping like sand, but he also felt her determination, steady and unbroken, and it lit a fire in him. The Korth commander stepped forward again. His weapon glowed with black fire, his voice cold as death. You cannot win, human. The bond will destroy you. It always destroys. You are not first. You will not be last. Ethan staggered, but his voice rang out. Maybe it destroyed others, but not us, not this time. He looked at Lyra, their bond blazing between them. She made me hers, and now I choose her too. Our bond lasts forever. The words carried like thunder. The crystal ruins flared with light, responding to his choice. The bond pulsed, no longer just thread but blazing river of energy. It poured from Ethan and Lyra together. A wave of silver fire that struck the Korth like storm. Their weapons shattered. Their machines crumbled. The commander screamed as the fire tore through his armor, breaking him into shadow and dust. The dark ships above cracked, their hulls burning. With the same silver light, one by one, they fell from the sky, crashing into the forest. Silence following their ruin. When it ended, the valley was still. The ruins glowed softly. The forest sighed with light. Ethan fell to his knees, trembling. Lyra knelt beside him, her hand steady on his shoulder. Through the bond he felt her strength holding him up. Even as her body shook with exhaustion, he looked at her, his voice weak but steady. So, we won? Lyra's silver eyes softened. No, Ethan. This was not victory. This was beginning. Ethan frowned, confused. The beginning? Lyra nodded, her gaze lifting to the sky where stars still burned. The Korth will come again, stronger. They will never stop fearing the bond, but now they will also fear us. Ethan was silent, the weight of her words pressing into him. He thought of Earth, of home, but it felt far away now. He thought of Lyra, of the bond, of the fire they had unleashed together. And he realized something. He was no longer just a human lost on an alien world. He was part of something greater, something eternal. Lyra's voice broke his thoughts, gentle but firm. Ethan, do you regret it? That you chose me? He met her eyes, silver glowing like stars. For a moment he thought of the freedom he had lost, the life he had left. But then he felt her heartbeat inside him. Strong and alive, he shook his head, his voice low. No, I don't regret it, because you made me yours, Lyra, and I choose to stay forever. Lyra smiled, faint but real, her voice soft as starlight. Then our bond is no longer curse. It is destiny, and destiny is ours to carry. They stood together, the ruins glowing around them, the stars watching above. The bond burned bright, not chain, not prison, but choice. And as they walked into the silver forest, Ethan knew, whatever battles lay ahead, whatever darkness hunted them, they would face it together, forever.